Hey, welcome into Candlestick Chronicles, a 49ers podcast on the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I am Kyle Madson. I write about the 49ers over at NinersWire.com, part of the USA Today Sports Media Group. Joining me now, Chris Biderman of the Sacramento Bee, as he does every... I don't know why I say joining me, like this is not a show that we both do.
Hanging.
That's annoying. I hate that. I just noticed that I say that, and I don't like it. I'm going to change that wording in the intro, but I'm Kyle, he's Chris. We're the hosts of Candlestick Chronicles, a 49ers podcast on the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I read about the 49ers over at NinersWire.com, part of the USA Today Sports Media Group, and Chris writes for the Sacramento Bee. So, we're sponsored by Lamb Chops. SGLambchops.com is the website. They're our favorite clothing brand. Also, now my dad's favorite clothing brand, apparently. He came over for New Year's Day, did a little dinner, came over in his lamb chop sweats.
Oh, we love that for him.
Pulled up to the crib in lamb chop sweats, and he's like, "Dude, these are so comfortable." Because look on the other side, they got the ash gray. They got them on sale. I gotta get them. It's like, all right, man.
a little bit of extra breathing room for those bigger meals, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you have the zippered pockets to keep everything secure that you need, and of course, you look dope. Like, why wouldn't your dad be wearing those to a dinner party?
It's exactly what I said. He pulled up. I was like, "Damn, Dad, you look dope." He was wearing the new fall and winter collection sweats. They're like a dark gray, a very, very dark gray, like a charcoal. I wouldn't even call it a charcoal gray. It's dark, kind of a dark gray with the lamb chops word mark on the left thigh. Really, really cool looking. And you should get a pair. And you can do that at sglambchops.com. If you use promo code Candlestick20, you can get 20% off your order today. We love our friends at Lamb Chops. We appreciate their sponsorship, and we will continue rocking Lamb Chops from now until the end of our days.
I am going on another road trip next week. We'll be stopping through the great city of Detroit, Charlotte, and Philadelphia, and you can bet all three cities will see some Lamb Chops gear in some capacity. Right. So it's not even just because they sponsor. It's like they are legitimately in the wardrobe, in the rotation. So shout out to our homies at Lamb Chops.
We love them. SGLambchops.com, promo code Candlestick20 for 20% off your order today. Join the herd. We're also sponsored by Cooperage Brewing, home of the Candlestick Chronicles Hazy IPA, but also home to many delicious beers. You can get them at the brewery, which is a great spot up in Santa Rosa. I cannot recommend it enough. It is one of my favorite breweries to hang out at. And then you can order beer online. Maybe you're like, Kyle, I live in Southern California. You know what? I live down in the South Bay. Santa Rosa is kind of a mission. One, take a little staycation to Santa Rosa. It's a good spot. Two, you can order it online. Go to cooperagebrewing.com as long as you're 21 and over and in the state of California. Cooperage will ship a case of beer to you. You can mix and match if you want to try several. You can get 24 cans of Candlestick Chronicles Hazy IPA if you want, or 24 cans of whatever other beer you like. My recommendation, if you've not had Cooperage before, get a mix and match case. And then once you find the ones you like, just get cases of those beers when you find your favorites. That's what I would do.
They've had Candlestick Chronicles Hazy IPA all season for the first time. It's just been one continuous run. It's been in such high demand, which we really appreciate. You can get really any type of beer that you want. They have Sparkle Pants, Watermelon and Mint hard seltzer 4-packs that you can get if hard seltzers are your jam. They have Pilsners, Dollar Pils, y'all. Of course, a local favorite. Kurt Reynolds Pale Ale is back. If you know, you know. Tommy Pastrami Hazy IPA. Sound is Vibration, a Hazy IPA. They have Granddaddy Terp, which is a West Coast double dry hopped double IPA. A little more premium in price, and it sounds like a little bit more of a premium selection. The can looks amazing if you go to Cooperage's website, cooperagebrewing.com. So whether you're an IPA person or a lager person or a Pilsner person or even a wheat beer person or a seltzer person, they have a little bit of everything for you. So check out our good buddies at Cooperage.
We love Cooperage. Visit cooperagebrewing.com today. All right. The 49ers are facing the Rams in a Week 18 game that might as well be a preseason game. We're going to talk about why, and then we're going to talk about Kyle Shanahan's philosophy on rest versus rust. And we're also going to talk about the Rams maybe hosing themselves by resting on Sunday? Let's talk about it. Hey, I thought it made a lot of sense at first when I found out that the Rams were going to rest guys, and it doesn't surprise me because Sean McVay is one of the coaches that nobody plays during the preseason. Like if you're going to make the team, you're just not going to play during the preseason. Right. But so I wasn't that surprised when I saw that they were going to rest players because it's kind of what I expected. But I also thought they had the 6th seed locked up. But it turns out the Rams do not. And the difference between the 6 and 7 seed, if the Cowboys win against Washington and if the Lions win against the Vikings, whoever the Lions play, I think it's the Vikings, the Cowboys will be the 2 seed. And if the Rams lose and the Packers win, the Rams will be going to Dallas instead of Detroit in the first week of the first week of the playoffs on Wild Card weekend. I would be trying to win this game if I was the Rams.
Yeah, I don't entirely disagree, but I think in Sean McVay's mind, he's thinking that no matter what, his team has to be healthy. Like he needs his guys to be healthy. And I sort of appreciate the big picture idea of like, look, if we're going to try to win the Super Bowl, there's no easy route. So like we need to beat everybody we play regardless. So we might as well just have our guys healthy and ensure they're healthy by not playing them in week 18. So,
yeah, basically
I
giving themselves a bye.
Yeah, more or less. For at least some of their stars, right? Mm-hmm. But like Puka Nacua is going to play. And maybe that's something where he just, gets 29 yards and gets the rookie receiving record, and then they shut him down for the game. Mm-hmm. But to me, like, if Sean McVay thinks that there isn't a whole lot of difference between the Lions and Cowboys, I think I tend to agree with him.
Yeah, right? I guess if you get it, it's either play against the super unpredictable Dan Campbell, where you have to prepare for like literally everything in all situations. They might fake punt on a 4th and 50 from their own 1. Like you just have to prepare for everything, or you have to prepare for Mike McCarthy, who Sean McVay is going to coach circles around.
Yeah,
maybe losing is right. Okay, I changed my. You know what? I've changed my mind. Losing is the right move for the Rams if they do indeed lose.
Yeah, so the Rams have clinched a playoff spot, but they haven't clinched the 6th seed. They could very well be the 7th seed if they lose to the Niners. But again, we'll see. I think if we really wanted to dive in the weeds of the Rams thinking, we could. But I think Kyle Shanahan said a bunch of interesting things today at his press conference because and we're recording this Wednesday afternoon. This is like one of those weeks that the game isn't super important, but I think this is one of the most important weeks of the season in terms of how Kyle Shanahan handles it. And I think he alluded to it a lot in his press conference today. And this is all about the rest versus rust conversation, right? Mm-hmm. Because given the 49ers injury context and the fact that so many of their guys are dealing with injuries, they more or less have to play like they can't treat this like week 3 of the preseason. Mm-hmm. Right? Like they are treating this like, like Brock Purdy's not going to play. Kyle Shanahan announced that. And he's the only quote unquote healthy scratch as of right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he would love to have Trent Williams not play, but Jalen Moore is still in the concussion protocol. And is right. Jalen Moore, it sounds like, is trending towards being able to play. And if he's able to play, then you probably feel fine about him being at left tackle. But, yes. Do you feel okay about playing a third string left tackle, even with your backup quarterback in there? Because look, frankly, like there's not a non-zero chance that Sam Darnold has to play in the playoffs. So do you want to risk playing, some practice squad left tackle out there protecting his blind side against the Rams against somebody who might be competing for, his NFL livelihood? And trying to put some good tape together, right? So what Shanahan alluded to a lot today was just the fact that there can be a domino effect when you rest too many guys. And one of the things he was very staunchly saying was that, 2 weeks off isn't good for anybody. Like the 49ers are basically like Shanahan is splitting first team reps between Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold today, or throughout this week, even though Purdy's not going to play, because there's a level of sharpness that he wants his guys to have, even though Sunday is going to look more like a preseason game than any other regular season game they played this year. But when Shanahan was talking about the domino effect of, well, if we rest this guy and then these guys get hurt and these guys are straining, it's like you still need, you still need basically 47 guys to win in the playoffs. Like it's not just, you can't just rely on your stars and then, just have some scrubs in other spots. Like, you got John Feliciano dealing with a back injury, right? You've had Spencer Burford banged up for a long time. Aaron Banks has been hurt for a while. So if you just like rest all of your guys, then you're potentially putting these other guys, these second, third tier guys on your roster in the line of fire. And if they get hurt and if they're overworked and they get strained, then all of a sudden your overall, like you might have your top guys healthy, but your overall roster might be a little bit worse off.
Right.
If you do end up resting some guys in this week 18 game. So what Shanahan was alluding to, and even joked about it to the reporters, he was like, I could go through position by position and explain it to you, but it's not going to do you any good because we don't even know like who's going to come out of the game healthy or who's, like they're going to have to deal with injuries during the game potentially. Right. Like that happens and that changes plans, and the best laid plans can change, for during a game on Sunday. So it's not the point I'm trying to make here is that Kyle Shanahan was saying it is not as simple as just, okay, just rest all of your stars and basically have 2 weeks off going into the first playoff game 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now. It's, we got to maintain our edge and maintain our sharpness while also making sure the guys who need rest get the rest they need, while also making sure we field a team on Sunday that doesn't put anybody else in position to get hurt.
Right.
And it's kind of a tricky thing, just given that like the 49ers are dealing with a slew of injuries and there's only so many guys that they can rest without having to like cut a bunch of guys. Right. So it's not an easy spot, I would say.
If they were fully healthy, I mean, as healthy as a NFL team can be by January 3rd, if they were fully healthy, I think maybe the calculus is a little bit different.
Yeah, totally.
But like you said, Christian McCaffrey's already out. He's not resting. He is dealing with a calf injury. Eric Armstead is dealing with knee and foot injuries. Ross Dwelley, Jair Brown already haven't been ruled out, but it sounds like they're going to be out again this week.
Tayshaun Gibson has a quad injury.
Tayshaun Gibson already dealing with it. So the Niners might need two safeties just to field a defense. So I mean it's I understand the idea of, hey, sit everybody. Deebo Samuel, sit out. Brandon Ayuk, sit out. George Kittle, sit out. Kyle Juszczyk, you're going to sit down. I understand the logic behind it for sure, because you'd rather everybody be healthy and you'd rather lose by 80 than deal with a major injury, but you can't. You have to have a team, and there are special teams, and there are players who need reps, and just. I think what we're going to wind up seeing, I was just going to kind of repeat everything you said, but I'm not going to do that. I think what we wind up seeing here is, so we know Brock Purdy is out. I would be very surprised if Trent Williams plays.
Yes.
Because Trent Williams' sharpness is not, I think, going to be hindered by extra time off. He's already dealing with a groin injury. Yes, he played last week, but I don't think the Niners want to push that any further than they need to. And then the other one is Javon Hargrave, who had the hamstring injury. He played Monday night against the Ravens. He played last week against Washington. I wouldn't be surprised if they sit him out. But I think if he does play, if George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, guys like that, I think it is one of those they play the first half and then maybe come out for the second half. Yeah. And that way they're getting their week of practice in, they're getting some in-game reps. I don't think we see anything crazy from either team. It's probably going to be super vanilla game plan wise. And Shanahan's certainly not going to do stuff like handoffs to Deebo Samuel up the middle on 3rd and 1. I don't think we see anything like that. But yeah, it's the Rams are in a different position with sitting Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald and Matthew Stafford and Kyron Williams because they don't have next week off. The 49ers are trying to navigate what is ostensibly 2 weeks off for them. And I mean, there's worse problems to have, but it's definitely not as easy for Kyle Shanahan. It's just like, all right, if you're a starter, you're out this week.
Right. Because so many of these non-star players are dealing with injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Banks hurt. John Feliciano, back injury. He showed up on the injury report today.
Yeah.
Spencer Burford's been out for a while. Jalen Moore has been dealing with a concussion. Jawan Jennings has been out for a while dealing with a concussion. It's not like, hey, rest Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and just play Jawan Jennings and Ray McLeod because those guys are hurt. And so are you going to, are you going to have a game where you're elevating, you have Chris Connolly and Ronnie Bell? Like, I don't know. Like, I just think it's more difficult than it would seem. And maybe we're making too much of it, or maybe the content is just a little bit lean, given that the 49ers have already wrapped up the 1 seed and we're going to have to talk about things over the next 2 weeks before we know who they're playing in the playoffs. But it's just an interesting week. And maybe we should talk about too, like, what our thoughts are on Sam Darnold getting the nod and what that could look like. Because
hey, real quick, since you mentioned next week and the bye week, lining up a special guest, nailing it down, but I have a special guest lined up.
If it's who I think it is, the longtime listeners will be tickled.
It is who you think it is, and the OG Candle Cron listeners are in for a treat.
I love that. But yeah,
Sam Darnold starting for the 49ers.
Sam Darnold. Is there anything? So this is kind of like the cheesy. I mean, no offense to sports talk radio, or anyone who talks on it for a living, but this might be a cheesy sports talk radio take or question. Does your opinion of Brock Purdy change at all if Sam Darnold comes in and throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns on Sunday?
No, because no, I don't think so. My opinion of Sam Darnold would change.
Okay.
Because he would probably be doing it with like a half of Deebo Samuel and half of Brandon Ayuk, no Trent Williams. It would be impressive, and it would definitely, because I was of the mind like I wouldn't start Sam Darnold over Trey Lance or Brock Purdy because we have 50 plus games of Sam Darnold as a starter, and it's pretty much been a disaster in every sense. But if he comes in and lights it up, then I think it's a good sign, not a good sign, but it just kind of validates Kyle Shanahan. I don't think it invalidates Brock Purdy at all. And it probably makes Sam Darnold a lot of money.
Sam Darnold, low-key, for those interested in such things, is kind of an interesting pending free agent.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that any team would like if he came out and played really well, I don't know if there's a team in the league that would decide, okay, we're gonna give Sam Darnold the same contract that, I don't know, Baker Mayfield got from Tampa Bay, which I think was $10 million a year to start. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to just go out and get that type of contract and be in that scenario where he's going to start next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see a team going like a rebuilding team that's absolutely going to draft a quarterback in round 1, have Sam be their bridge guy. But I'm curious to see, like, does he light it up? Like, can he do anything that would really impact the way he's viewed in a meaningless game, that like impact the way he's viewed as a free agent next year? Or would it have to be like Sam Darnold keeps you afloat in a playoff game while, leads a touchdown drive while Brock Purdy's shoulders getting looked at, knock on wood, in a playoff game? Like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Carson Wentz, by the way. going for the
Carson
Rams.
Wentz v. Sam Darnold. I don't know, man. Here's what I think and what you think is probably a lot different than what the talking heads on various sports media outlets would have to say if Sam Darnold comes out and lights it up. Like that's the conversation that is going to be really, really annoying.
The thing that annoys me about that conversation is that we've seen other quarterbacks run Kyle Shanahan's system, and some of them have not been good enough to win football games, even with good defenses.
Right. Like, and there were people, and keep in mind real quick, there were people before the season predicting the 49ers to win the Super Bowl because Sam Darnold was going to be the starter. I think it was Adam Shine. I think that's who it was. CBS Sports or NFL.com or wherever he wrote this. Pick Sam Darnold to win the MVP. Like, that's
is that true?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's like Sam Darnold MVP dark horse. Like everybody knows he's talented and the most talented thrower of the football the 49ers have ever had. I mean, that's common knowledge.
Shouts to Mayoko.
But I don't know, man. Like, I don't think it changes anything Brock Purdy has done because they're just so different. Like Sam Darnold is, they're both good athletes, but Sam Darnold's probably a little bit better athlete. He has a rocket for an arm. The difference in his fastball versus Brock Purdy's is like actually stark on TV, and it's really funny to see. Mm-hmm. But I think the bigger deal would be like, oh, Sam Darnold can actually play if he gets to the right situation. I think that would be the takeaway for me is Sam Darnold made himself some money. If you get him to Minnesota, if you get him to
Atlanta,
maybe. Like, if you get him to that situation, all of a sudden he becomes a valuable quarterback. I don't think it's going to be the Mitch Trubisky situation where he was kind of persona non grata, backs up Josh Allen for a year, and then goes and signs a 2-year, $14 million deal or wherever it was with the Steelers. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think he has a real chance to earn himself like a legitimate, like you said, like a Baker maybe not even a Baker Mayfield contract, maybe more than that, where it's a legitimate like starting NFL quarterback contract.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Not ruling it out.
That's a lot. I don't mean that. That's going to come across bad. I don't mean like a top of market contract. I mean like
like 10, 12 million a year.
Yeah, something like that to be a bona fide starter. Like he is QB1 day one.
I have a take that's unrelated, but I thought about it a little bit, and I've thought about it for most of the second half of the season in relation to Brock Purdy's arm strength.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. If you want to aggregate this, go ahead. Aggregators who listen to this podcast.
Me.
Brock Purdy's lack of elite arm strength might be a good thing because he throws perhaps the most catchable ball in the NFL. So because he's not throwing laser beams that are really difficult to catch, and because he's accurate, he just throws extremely catchable passes that allow for the yak numbers to be what they are, or that help the yak numbers be what they are. His lack of arm strength is a good thing.
Boy. Okay. No. No, I can't get on board with this take. If this was the first year that they were good at yak, then maybe we'd have something here. But sure. No, I can't get on board with that. I wish.
But you saw when in the Cardinals game in Arizona, when Brock had to leave with the stinger, mm-hmm. Was it the first pass that Sam Darnold threw to George Kittle that he couldn't hang on to?
Yeah.
Because it was just had way too much heat on it?
Was that...
You
know what it did? It did make me think for a second, and then I realized that it was probably just an adjustment. Like when you faced a guy who's thumbing 82, and then a reliever comes in who's throwing 98. Like that first fastball looks like 114. You know,
I don't know. I think too, man, if you were to talk to Brock Purdy's pass catchers, they would say, like, yeah, he throws really catchable passes. It helps us.
That's because Brock Purdy's pass catchers all rock with him like crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you hear Deebo Samuel talking about him on the Kay Adams show? What's it called? Up and Adams? Up and Adams.
I haven't heard this week's iteration. What do you say?
Oh, he just talked about how much they love Brock Purdy because of how much joy he plays with and how excited he gets and how much he loves football and makes them love football. It's like, good Lord. Guy's just out here doing it.
Good.
It's great. It's good for him.
Good. It's what you want. Real quick, and this is according to KNBR's Instagram feed. The Niners have 13 players who are leading their positions in Pro Bowl voting.
15.
15?
15.
What's your source?
I believe that to be the case. Matt Barrows of The Athletic.
Okay. We rock with Barrows. Is this on Twitter?
Yeah, it's on Matt Barrows' Twitter.
X, formerly Twitter.
Yeah, that's it. And then if my internet wants to load, I can actually grab the actual list that got sent out by the NFL.
Okay. I'm not going to spend time on the pod scrolling, but I will read off the 13 that KNBR is reporting. Okay. You have Brock Purdy. Great. Brock Purdy, who is apparently the leading vote getter in all of Pro Bowl voting, which is kind of wild. That's correct. Yep. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Charvarius Mooney-Ward, Aaron Banks, interesting. Mitch Wishnowsky, about time. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Jake Brendel, Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, and of course our guy, friend of the pod, Tabor Pepper.
Did you get Mitch Wishnowsky?
Yep.
Did you get Ray McLeod?
Oh, did not.
Yeah, Ray is...
He's the leading vote getter for punt returners?
I'm sorry. He is second in return specialist. I have lied to you, and I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay.
I messed up.
Okay.
It's my bad.
Appreciate you being accountable.
Yeah. I always hold myself accountable.
Yeah. Unlike some head coaches I can think of.
Yeah. Got him. Fried his ass. Yeah. No. Shout out to the faithful for pulling up for the fan vote.
Aaron Banks a Pro Bowler in your opinion?
Sure. Huh.
Jake Brendel?
I'm going to here's my I'm trying to be better about this. I've grinded. I have grinded 0 seconds of any other team left guard tape.
Oh, sure.
So Aaron Banks to me is a Pro Bowler because he's the only left guard I pay attention to.
He's the best left guard you've watched closely all year.
Although John Feliciano's done a really nice job there. Is Aaron Banks a system left guard? Let's talk about it. Is John Feliciano the Sam Darnold of left guards?
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah, I don't Brock Purdy's probably going to finish second in MVP. Second or third. Niners might have two of the top 3 MVP candidates.
Are votes due after week 18?
I would imagine so.
I think it depends on what Josh Allen and /or Tua do against one another in that AFC East showdown. If Josh Allen goes and throws for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns and runs in another touchdown to win the AFC East, I think he gets a bunch of votes. Unless they're already due, but that'd be crazy. I think they're due after.
No, I don't think they're due before the end of the season. That would be silly.
Yeah. So I think Josh Allen could sneak in there because people really, really badly want to make Josh Allen an MVP candidate. So that wouldn't shock me. And maybe same deal with Tua and Tyreek Hill. If one of those guys just really lights it up in that game, maybe they win the AFC East because of it. Then maybe maybe they get it. But yeah,
That's
I think
fair.
Brock Purdy's top 3.
Top 3. Yeah, McCaffrey can't add to his case, but he's still going to be, I think, the only skill guy who goes over 2,000 yards from scrimmage this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty decent.
Sounds like it. He's all right. Pretty good little season.
Pretty good season.
I went from writing about all these 49ers team records that could go down because I was just so sure that one of the Lions or Eagles were going to win on Sunday and make this game matter. So it's like, man, the passing touchdowns record, the scrimmage yards record, the total touchdowns, like all these different things. And then all that stuff goes that way. Brock Purdy's now done for the season, for the regular season. Christian McCaffrey's done for the regular season. Deebo Samuel's probably not going to get to his 1,000 yards receiving to give him 3 1,000-yard receivers. It's just a whole... It's like, well, never mind then. It's all done now.
It was... I did not go into the weekend thing. Like, I thought there was maybe a 15% chance the Niners would end up with the 1 seed.
Oh, dude, we were talking about it in our text thread with our favorite cast member, Nick Wagner. There was a point where Washington is going down to score and make it a 3-point game against the 49ers in the third quarter while the Eagles are in the process of thrashing the Cardinals. And it was like, man, not only is week 18 going to matter, but the 49ers could very well lose that game and wind up playing a wild card weekend and they're super banged up. Like, this is not going the right direction. That's how it kind of felt. And then Charvarius Ward gets that interception and the Eagles defense does whatever it was doing. And here we are. It's just such an insane turnaround in like 25 minutes of game time.
The Eagles defense was existing some level.
Hey, I know this isn't 49ers related. Sorry, everybody, but can we old takes exposed every person that was like, Howie Roseman has done it again when they traded for Kevin Byard, who I like a lot. I used to do TitansWire.com. I was there
You're
for
a huge
the
Titans guy.
Big Titans guy. Everybody knows it.
The Titans community has been missing you dearly.
They really have. There's a whole bit in the Titans group chat I'm still in about #OurNiners because they're big Niners guys now because it's a whole thing. But no, it's like, well, the 49ers are the team Mike Vrabel wants to be, but that's a different conversation. There was this whole like freak out about the Eagles getting Kevin Byard and how does Howie Roseman do it? There were podcasts about how he GMs and he's on the phone all the time and that's how you get Kevin Byard for nothing. And oh my God, look at his draft and holy crap, they got you. Oh, this is... And now we're here and they're going to be a 5 seed and the vibes are bad. Like if they lost in the first round to Tampa Bay, would you be floored? I would be a small amount surprised.
Compared to where I thought the Eagles were like in October, yes, I would be floored. Right now, no, I wouldn't be.
Right, based on the last 5 weeks, You're not shocked. And so I don't know. There was a lot of like, whoops, send the Lombardi to Philly when they got Kevin Byard, and now their defense still stinks. They're turning to Matt Patricia as their defensive coordinator. I don't know.
Whose idea was that? Was that Sirianni's?
Boy, I hope not.
Yikes.
Yeah, it looks like you're wearing an Eagles t-shirt, by the way.
I had that thought. I've had this t-shirt forever. I love it. It's
a great t-shirt.
Yeah, but it's not an Eagles shirt. It's just Undefeated.
It's a Kelly Green Eagle.
Undefeated did some collab with some artist who painted this eagle and they put it on a shirt, and it's been like one of my favorite shirts for like a decade, and it's somehow like still in good shape. So anyway,
it's a great shirt.
Yeah, but it's not a Philadelphia Eagles related
right
shirt.
Anyway.
I wore it during Future Eagle, Bob Lang. Shout out to Bob Lang. I wore it to 49ers practice one time, the week of the Niners playing the Eagles.
Oh,
and Bob was like pissed at me. And then Bob left the 49ers to go work for the Eagles. Later.
He was projecting. He was big time projecting.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
no,
Bob, I didn't even think about it. This is not a Philadelphia Eagles shirt. It's just a black shirt with a green eagle on it.
it's not a Philadelphia Eagles shirt. It's just a black shirt with the Eagles colors and their mascot on it.
It says "Fly Eagles Fly," but like it's not actually an Eagles shirt. No, it's just something I see and put on. But
not that much thought went into it.
No.
Yeah.
Never.
No,
all right.
We're all on board that the 49ers are going to win no postseason awards, right? Like Shanahan's definitely not winning Coach of the Year. Kevin Stefanski has earned the shit out of that, by the way.
Depending on how you feel about Brock Purdy. I mean, I think Shanahan has a compelling. If you think Brock Purdy sucks, then Shanahan has to be the coach of the year.
I'm with you, but I don't think enough people think that. But I also don't think anybody thinks he's the MVP anymore, which fine. Like Lamar Jackson has again earned the heck out of it.
Could John Lynch get executive?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Who's getting it?
It's not whoever Houston's GM is. Nick Caserio.
You think so?
Yeah. Okay. Probably something like that. Because CJ Stroud fell to them at 2.
In the offseason.
And they made the move up to get Will Anderson, and Will Anderson had a nice year. And they hired D'Amico Ryans, and they hired Bobby Sloak. Like Houston pushed all the right buttons.
Okay. But still might miss the playoffs.
They might. There's a real chance of it. It's kind of wild that and we can talk about this more Thursday, but it's kind of wild that the Bills could either win the AFC East or miss the playoffs.
Like half the teams in the AFC South?
Yeah.
Or all the teams no, 3 of the teams in the AFC South?
Right.
Are there any teams in the AFC South aside from Carolina who are out of it?
No.
They're all
Tampa Bay is in with a win. And then if Tampa Bay loses, then Falcons Saints is for the division.
And they play each other.
But Tampa Bay plays Carolina.
Okay. In Carolina.
Tough place to win. Ask the Falcons. Really?
Hey man. I'm not calling it, but like but put it like this. Any sub-5 or like any mid NFL team losing anywhere is not surprising.
That's a good point. No, you're right. That's fair.
If you're a mid NFL team, you're capable of losing any game. That's what makes you mid.
Yeah. They're having a mid off.
I would never pick Tampa Bay to lose. I would never pick Carolina. But like
you're not picking Carolina, but you're not confidently betting on Tampa Bay either.
Yeah, if I was a betting person, that's a stay away for me.
Right. Anyways. Right. That's fair.
You have any predictions for Kings Magic tonight? I'm about to head over to G1C.
Yeah, I think the Magic have a lot of the length and athleticism that bothers the Kings. Okay. And frankly, I think that was an underrated part of their performance against the Hornets. Like, say what you will about the Hornets, they stink, but it's a lot of 6'7" athletes. And that gives the Kings problems. And Orlando has a lot of big athletes. But given how poorly the Kings played against Charlotte, I think we see an inspired effort against a Magic team that's on the back end of a road back-to-back. And I think the Kings get a dub tonight. I think they get off the back-to-back schneid.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild that it feels like the Kings eventually should get over that point where it's like, okay, we're just going to be better than this team that we should beat.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no matter where the Kings are at, how confident you feel, you still cannot feel great about them hosting an undermanned bad team.
Right, dude. That's somebody today on ESPN 1320 Sacramento Sports Leader. Somebody said today in our YouTube chat, they were like, this team is Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know which one they are. And it's like, no, this is what they are. Like, are you confident that this team is going to be a better team than a playoff team 4 nights out of 7, 4 times? And like, no, not even close. And that's the problem. So, anyways.
Helps when your $40 million a year center doesn't turn the ball over 11 times.
Yeah. Tough.
Anyway, tough. Anyways. All right. Well, we'll report back Thursday with more Kings takes.
Oh, people are going to be so fired up, dude. Watch out, James Ham. We're coming for you.
And I'll have some more on the road next week.
Can't wait.
I'll bring my mic with me. See if I can. It's gonna be a tough road trip. But
hey, when we get off, when we get offline here, I got to ask you about your travel schedule. But anyways,
okay.
Thanks everybody. YouTube.com/@ Candlestick Chronicles podcast, or just on YouTube, search Candlestick Chronicles right there. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the little notification bell. You'll get a notification whenever we go live, which we do after every single 49ers game and also a couple times during the week. And then subscribe to the podcast as well. Wherever you get your podcast, you can find Candlestick Chronicles. Please subscribe, rate, review, do all that jazz. We would appreciate it greatly. We will be back for a preview, I guess. Discuss the 49ers and Rams showdown on week 18. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.